Most creative questions of anybody ever.
I agree. That was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's an honor. This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show. We're here at Marty's on Newport in Tustin, California with Astrid McDonald and Kevin Devine of the Side Eyes. What did your father, Jeff McDonald, of the legendary LA punk band Red Cross, teach you about music?
Well, he definitely raised me on cool music. He would play music in my crib, trying to brainwash me to be cool when I'm older. And he definitely teaches me on stage moves. That's his favorite thing to do.
Yeah, he brainwashed you with The Who.
With The Who, yes.
Is there any do's or don'ts?
There's definitely no don'ts. I guess that's all I can say about it. We just go for it every time.
You somehow ended up in the band through Tinder. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
We met on Tinder, and then I just said, hey, let's start a band, and then we did. And then we were dating too at the same time, but and my brother's in the band, so we're a band full of fighting, so there's no breaking us up. Nothing can break us up.
Do you work full time?
I'm looking for a job. I was in college and I graduated in May, like this whole time, so I was like working towards my degree, but now I'm looking for a job.
And what was your degree?
English.
The kind of music you guys have chosen is amazing. We're echoing back to the Adolescents, the Avengers, you name it. The good punk rock. You guys are like the first real punk rock band that we've heard in maybe 20 or 30 years.
Thank you.
Oh, that's such an honor.
That's such an honor. I can't even accept that compliment.
That's a huge
I'm
compliment.
just glad.
I can't accept that either.
Well, why though? I mean, but
there's so many good bands. Like there's so many good bands. Like there's bands under the radar here and there that I saw my friends' bands playing garage when I was in like middle school. I was like, I want to do that. So I'm glad that you say we're doing it right.
Yeah, that's an honor. I guess it's hard to find, but I always just kind of like never think about that when we're playing. You know, we just do it for fun, you know, and it's just turned out this way. So I'm really happy that you think that way. Thank you.
How's the album doing? It's on Burger, correct?
In the Red. It's on both Burger and In the Red.
How did the Burger deal come about?
Me and Kevin had been going to like Burger Records shows even before we met, and we just were playing around in the Orange County scene, and Lee was into it. So yeah.
Yeah,
we put it out on Burger because we got to know Lee, and he's really cool, and he was really open to it, so that was great.
Your uncle, Stephen McDonald of the legendary LA punk band Red Cross, produced the Side Eyes album So Sick, correct?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He's a wizard.
He's the
literally
best.
We just knocked it out. Like he has everything so dialed, and like it's in his rehearsal space, and we just literally like in 2 nights we're like, that's all it is, and all of a sudden Steve goes to his wizardry and it just sounds amazing, way better than we could sound live. So it's
yeah, we did it in 2 days.
I just think it would be weird because even in relationships sometimes you get tired of people and you don't want them hovering over you, and especially when you're in that creative process, it's just like, hey, I just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
I don't want you to see what I'm doing right now. Like, I just came up with this lick. I don't need you to comment on it.
Yeah.
Was there any of that, or how do you get along?
A little bit.
There's a little bit, but we're lucky because our drummer Sam is literally one of the best drummers in the world.
Yeah,
I'll stand by that. And anything he can literally, like, he could have joined Red Cross up there with no whatever and just filled in like that. And then so he's just he's the best drummer. My brother's my little brother, so I can tell him what to do. And then I'm the guitar player, so besides Astrid, but she's in control of all the melodies, lyrics.
But you don't feel precious when you're around Steven or your dad.
No. If anything, it's like I feel inspired when I'm around them because they're so beyond insanely talented. And for a long time I was like nervous to like sing in front of them or play music because it was like such a high standard, but they're so open and great, like supportive, that it took me like 3 minutes to get comfortable, and I've never felt like that way around them. Like it's just a creative, positive experience.
Chargo thoughts?
No.
What?
Oh, that was our first release. That was songs that Chargo
taught us.
Not Chargogo, but
I think it was
Chargo.
Chargo. I think that was supposed to be like that was just the title of the 7-inch that we put out with In the Red, like the split with Red Cross.
Yeah.
Because it was just songs that my mom, Charlotte, had written. So it was just like paying homage to her.
Cat call.
It's just like constant when you're a woman walking down the street. It's never ending. When people scream out their car door at you, and it's really. It's annoying. It's like, leave me alone. So like, there's just, it's like, what do you think I'm going to do? Run after you and be like, hey, what's your number?
It also, I'd say, has a 0 success rate. 0%. I don't think there's ever been a successful cat call.
Never.
Like, it's never been like, oh, hey. And then
it's definitely more of like a power trip. Like, it's more so than somebody actually trying to get your number. Because if like they're driving down the street, it's not like I'm going to, it's stupid. But it's about that and how annoying that is and how that needs to stop.
Instead of it being a power trip, though, did you ever think that people are just very ignorant?
Or stupid, that they think I would chase down their car to say hello.
Then I have to ask you, what is your opinion on the Me Too movement?
Oh, I'm all for it. I think it's really important. And I think, everybody deserves to share their story and put it out there. I think it's super important. Yeah.
And also to respect people that aren't sharing their story, and just I know that there's more stories than people publicly sharing it, because with the age of social media, you can share it and like it can be powerful, but like it's not something for everyone to do, like especially in such like a traumatic experience, just to respect all people, even the people that aren't speaking out and using the hashtag.
Exactly.
I've been in the industry since I was 19 years old. There is an evil
I think so.
It's evil.
I agree. Like, it's a bad environment. And I like to be a positive, presence for women. When I'm on stage, like, I want it to feel safe for them. And I want them to feel like they can stand up to anybody they want to stand up to.
How hard was it for your parents to let you go on your first tour? Because, you're their everything, and it's just like, oh my gosh, our daughter's going to be in a van.
Yeah, exactly.
And look, even though you're there, you can't be there all the time.
They were like really excited about it, and they were like so supportive, but I know they wanted me to check in every time we got to a gas station, a rest stop, every time we got to a hotel or every venue. I have to like text them, call them. But I get it, it's like I totally understand. It was sweet. They were so into it.
You felt safe.
Oh yeah, I felt safe. It was a really positive experience going on tour. Everybody was super nice. There's always like weirdos in every city that make me feel uncomfortable, but I know how to handle it.
We're a safe band.
Yeah.
People kind of know not to like mess with us. I don't know what it is. My brother, we have a very good energy. I don't think people are going to try to take advantage of us wherever we are.
No, people are creepy, but I know how to handle it.
Well, the Tinder thing kind of frightens me a little bit because no offense, Mr. Divine.
Yeah.
Your parents, you're going to be in a band with these guys you met on Tinder. Like, we don't know these guys from Adam.
Well, the thing is, me and Kevin, like, when we met for the first time, like, we were both going to a show.
And we met up there.
And we met up at the show.
I wasn't like, hey, there's a dark alley.
No. We both met up at a show.
And the thing with Tinder is it's kind of more, you just kind of meet them there. But then you can, like, hey, one of the first things you can say is, what's your Instagram? And you can immediately see if they're a normal person. Because if they're not, it's going to show like, oh, I don't have one. Like, you can kind of get a gauge on someone. And like,
so you felt good about this gentleman?
Oh, yeah.
With the name Divine? Yeah,
my parents met him before we even, like, started playing shows together and stuff. Yeah. He came over to hang out.
Because we met at the show, and then once we met in real life, we were like, oh, this is going to be fun. And then we just we went to another show, I think, or maybe we just started hanging out and jamming. And
you just came over. It was easy. We had an easy situation with that. It's not always like that.
If you believe there was a hell, would Hitler be rotting there? And I'm going to start off with you, Astrid.
Of course. Is that even a question? Of course.
Of course.
Yes.
100%.
Okay, well, you would be surprised. What is the most unselfish thing you've ever done? Somebody else.
I really bad. I love fast food drive-thrus, and I always get too much. I never finish it. And if I see like a homeless person on the sidewalk with a hungry sign, I'll usually give them like the rest of my fries or something. They're pretty stoked. So like, I think that's it. Like, that's something I do pretty regularly. But like, I don't even know if that's unselfish or more than giving, but...
And you, Astrid?
I'm kind of selfless and unselfish to a fault. That's just like part of who I am. I don't know, I'm always doing stuff for people. It makes me happy. Can't think of one particular incident because it's almost to a level that it's a fault of mine.
Do you believe evil exists? And if so, define it.
I think it exists, and I think it's just it's just mental cases. I don't think there's any drive behind it besides something not being wired right or something triggering that to not wire it right. But like, I think evil exists, but it's just random. That's what I think about it.
Astrid?
I definitely think evil exists. I think evil exists in humanity's lack of empathy. When people get to a point where they don't feel for anybody else and they're only thinking of themselves instead of others.
If you could fix any one injustice in the world, what would it be?
Make sure that people weren't discriminated against for anything, and I wish everybody had equal opportunity to do what they want to do in life and be happy and not be discriminated against for anything.
I think it would be that everyone is fed.
Yeah.
If everyone, like, housing you can kind of get away without, but if I could fix one thing, I would feed everyone.
I also think that the lack of mental health care in this country is sickening, and that needs to be changed.
How important is fame to you, and could you live without it?
I could definitely live without it. It is not important to me at all.
Mr. Devine?
It's not important to me at all, but if anyone wants to do it and send a check this way, I'm all for it.
He's open.
I'll take the lifestyle. Like, this feels fine.
If you could collaborate with any musician, living or dead, who would it be?
Honestly, like, this is so different than like the music that I do, but probably Elliott Smith. I love Elliott Smith.
I genuinely can't answer. There's not just one.
Pros and cons of social media.
Oh my God. The pros are that when you're a musician, it's great because you can like post that you're playing somewhere, you can promote yourself. Like in real time, you know, and people can say like, oh, the show got pushed back an hour, and you know, people can be updated on your art, which is cool. Sorry, I think my dad's calling me. And then the cons are that people get really gnarly on there and are really mean and like to hide behind their computer screen and don't like to listen to anybody else's opinions except for their own because everybody's super self-righteous in this day and age.
I love social media. I think it's a good way to express yourself, meet friends. I've met so many friends like from social media. I think the cons are just people thinking like their voice is a little more important than it is. Well, not thinking that, but when they don't, like when what they're spewing is nonsense and they're like making other people listen to their nonsense. And keyboard warriors that will say anything online, then you see them in person like this and they just, oh hey, it's like, I don't back that.
I do think that everybody's entitled to say whatever they want on the internet. I know it's free speech, but I think it's gotten to a point where it's like people like to just go at it on people, and it's like you're just hiding behind your computer screen.
How would you define the word love?
Feeling happiness around other people and things. That was the worst.
Oh, love is when you just care about someone so much and you can't see your life without them. I never think like, oh, we're just like, oh, me and Astrid are in love. We don't say like, we just are because of what we do. Like, we live 60 miles apart. We work in different places, like whatever. We make it work, and I think that's love. Is not even thinking about it. It's not like, oh, I have to commute to her. It's just like, oh, we'll make it work. Like right now, we both drove separately from the show, different areas, and it's like,
that's cool.
That was a good answer, Kevin.
What brings you the most peace in your life right now?
Playing music brings me a lot of peace. Being around my family brings me peace. Being around my friends brings me peace. And being with my dog brings me peace.
What has been the secret to not becoming a casualty of sex, drugs, and rock and roll?
Being careful and knowing that I need to be careful because I am genetically predisposed to addiction. I just need to be careful. It's just one of those things. I've always been very moderate with stuff like that. So
yeah, I think it's just about moderation.
Yeah.
Like you just see when you see partying go downhill and people kind of turn weird and kooky, it's like, is it really worth it? Like, especially when you can see it firsthand.
Yeah, it's like it's just not appealing to me in such a, big degree. Like sometimes it's like, yeah, I'll go out, I'll have a drink or two, but that's like my extent.
What do you love most about connecting with your fans?
Oh, I love meeting them because you meet the sickest people ever, like especially in other states, like merch in Southern California. It's like, oh, people buy stuff, but bands play all the time. When you go to like other places, the merch booth is swarmed after every set. Even if they didn't like the band, what, I'm gonna give it like people were saying that, like not about us, but like other bands we saw, like, what, I really wasn't into it, but I'm gonna give this CD a list. I'm like, you're gonna buy something you don't like, but just because they have to be exposed to it, which is so different than out here.
Yeah, that's the same answer for me. We met like the sweetest people on tour, and I like still think about certain people we met because they were so nice, and it made me feel so good because I was afraid to kind of leave our little bubble. I didn't know what people were gonna think, and we had the best response, and I will never forget those sweet souls.
What would you like your legacy to be?
I want people to feel empowered by our music. I want people to feel inspired to start bands of their own. I want people to just enjoy it. And I want our legacy to be a legacy of happiness and fun music.
I just want to be a legend. I don't know what yet, but just I want whatever Kevin Devine is. Oh, that guy's a legend. Just that.
Working on a new album, and when can we see it?
We are working on it like right now.
We're recording it, I think January or February, so it should be out in the summer. But we have a 7-inch out right now on In the Red, just 2 songs, Get Me Out and Stop, that are out, and those will also be on the album, but that's kind of just a little teaser.
Get Me Out and Stop. Get Me Out is heavy.
Oh yeah, that we've been sounding like that for so long, so it's kind of weird. Like people are like, oh, it sounds so different, but if you've seen us live, you're like, oh, they've been playing like that for years. But it's like our first album was literally when we first started, had no, like you said, we just were inspired by what we were inspired and made songs. We're like, then we started playing, we're like, oh, we want more gain on our amps, we want louder, we want heavier, we want faster, so we just kind of found our sound, and I'm glad we recorded it and released it.
I think the amazing thing about what I've heard, you can put that album on and just rock hard.
That's Steve.
That's Steve. I was going to say that's a mix of just Steve and just, he just knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows.
We try to do that live, too, so you can hear everything, because it always sucks when, oh, that's a great show, and you go back and watch it, and the vocals are blasted, and all you hear is drums and vocals, and we're like, we're not a pop band, we want guitar and bass through the mix too.
The Hot Topic was an interesting modeling shoot because essentially they had you wearing the Baphomet all over your entire body.
Right.
Now, do you understand what the Baphomet represents?
Enlighten me.
Okay, so the Baphomet is a sign of the devil. It's a sign of Satan, the mark of the beast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was just modeling for a brand. I mean, it was just I went in and they just had a rack of clothing for me, and they were like, wear this. It was a paid gig, it was a job. So it was I just did what they told me. It was fun. I liked it.
I think there will be a zombie apocalypse.
I don't think so.
No.
I've never believed in zombies ever happening, and I don't think it will ever happen.
Is your next album coming out on Burger Records?
Probably. I mean, yeah, I would think so. It would be Burger Records and In the Red Records.
Yeah, but In the Red is the one who does the vinyl and puts it out.
Yeah. We always do a tape with Burger Records, but then we have our vinyl and In the Red and our CD with In the Red.
Is there anything you guys like to say to your fans?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a big thank you. And just keep coming, keep having fun.
Yeah, the most creative questions of anybody ever.
I agree. That was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's an honor. All right, this is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show with Astrid McDonald and Kevin Devine of the Side Eyes signing off.
The Blairing Out show.